Hi, I'm Nick with Kentucky Spin, and I'm here to bring you another youth talk. This youth talk is going to be about preparing for the interview and things you need to know. So, the first thing when preparing for the interview is that you want to be prepared. This is just looking into the company, making sure you know what the job you're interviewing for entails, knowing about the organization, if it's a place that you actually want to work for, and like practicing an interview, practicing interview questions, what might be asked, looking over your resume and preparing yourself for what things they might ask about your resume. Like if you have like a gap for maybe there was a time you didn't work from the last time you worked and being able to answer that type of question. Just being prepared for what they might ask you during that interview and knowing how to respond to any off questions that just so you know that just so you're prepared and are able to have the interview go smoothly. The next thing is that you want to look professional. You want to wear nice clothes, maybe like a polo shirt if you have something like that, or a nice button up, or even a nice coat. You want to make sure that you brush your hair, you want to have your teeth brushed, and take a shower before the interview. You want to look as nice and as clean as possible because you really want that first impression at that interview to be a good one. And also try to avoid really flashy clothes. Like don't wear like t-shirts that have like characters on them or slogans and things like that. Avoid really flashy jewelry. If you want to wear jewelry, that's fine. Just avoid like really like flashy and distracting looking piercings and things like that. Then you want to try to arrive to the interview on time. You want to be punctual. You want to get there on time, maybe a little bit early. And then once you get there, don't wander around the workplace too much. Just kind of when you go there for the interview, if they tell you to sit somewhere, just kind of sit there and wait patiently. You don't want to wander around too much and then not be able to be found when they need to find you. Also, once you get the interview scheduled in the first place, put it on a calendar and set up reminders. Maybe like a week in advance reminder, a day in advance reminder, just so you know, just so you remember days ahead of time that you do have that interview scheduled. Whether it's just being reminded that day you had the interview, you can like a week before or a couple of days before get a reminder on your phone or your computer letting you know, reminding you that you do have that interview coming up. And then during the interview, you want to try and stay focused. I know that can be difficult, trying to pay attention and answer questions properly and really gather what's going on. I know that can be a problem. Like me myself, I do have ADHD, and I have troubles focusing during meetings when people are talking and whatnot. So I understand that that isn't an easy thing to do, but you want to try to stay focused. Also, maybe this might be a good time if that is something that might be an issue and you're comfortable disclosing it. You maybe want to share that with the interviewer. That's something I'll talk about a little more is disclosure in a little bit about talking about your disabilities. But you want to try to stay focused. You want to answer the questions that they ask you. You want to try to listen attentively. Make it seem like you're interested in the job and act like you want to be there. And then just be yourself. Just smile. Act like you like being there. Share your skills and experiences. If you have any hobbies, tell them about those. If there's any particular shows you like watching, and when it comes up, talk about it. Just you know, share things about yourself, and then as you talk a little bit about yourself, you might actually feel a bit more comfortable there, and they might be able to relate to something you like. Like if you like gardening, maybe one of the interviewers likes gardening or knows about gardening, or maybe if you like watching certain TV shows, they might like those shows too, and it can kind of help break that ice. And then if you do get the job when you're working there, you'll might feel a bit more comfortable because you know that there's people there who share the same interests as you as well. And lastly, for this youth talk, I want to talk a little bit about disclosure and what that is. So, if you don't know, disclosure is when you're at a workplace or anywhere with anyone, it's sharing information about your disability. Um, and this is a very hard thing to give advice about. I have been asked by different people if they think they should share their disability when it comes to getting a job, and it's really hard to give a definitive answer on that because while I am comfortable sharing my disability with people because it's part of who I am and it's part of my life, and I am comfortable sharing that, it is important. It is important to know that, um, especially when it comes to getting a job, that while discrimination is a thing, and while it is illegal to discriminate. However, some businesses and some employers might not give you a job because you have a disability. They might come up with some other reason for it, or things like that. However, I do feel it is important too when you go to an interview, if it's not on your resume already. I think it's important near the beginning of the interview to go ahead and share that about you, either at the beginning or at the end. It can be at any point, but I recommend some point during the interview you should share that about yourself and let them know. Because the thing is that if it's going to, especially if it's going to affect your work ethic, if it's going to affect a certain way that you work, um, then they need to know that. Because if you're going and you're going to work somewhere where like if you go work at a factory and there's a part of that factory that has really loud noises and you're sensitive to sound, you need to let them know that, so that way when you are working there, they know not to send you to that part of the factory because they know that that you shouldn't be over there. So it's just good to let them know like that. Or like, I worked at a hotel for a really long time, and I'm very energetic. I have to always move around, and I let them know that during the interview that I had autism and it made me pace a lot. So they knew that I always showed up when I was needed to do something, but they always knew that if I wasn't at the front area, they knew that I was just walking around somewhere doing something else. So being able to disclose your disability and knowing your strengths and your weaknesses, because while your disability might affect certain parts of your work, it can also elevate other areas of your work ethic. So knowing your strengths and your weaknesses when it comes to your disability and to working is really important when you are comfortable disclosing your disability. And that's what I feel has worked for me is knowing how my disability helps me and how it doesn't help me, and being able to accurately define those when being interviewed. But anyway, that's all for this youth talk, and I'll see you next month for the next one.